Hi guys, Vino here and welcome to this time for a cup. I have with me the Zelda mug, which I'm not sure where on the obligatory mascot or wherever I've now put this on the Pantheon, but I have used it in quite a few videos because I believe it was bought for me by a dear friend many years ago, and it is a gaming mug, and being a gamer and a fan of Zelda somewhat, it does appear on these videos quite often. And to be completely honest with you, I've lost a mascot mug at the moment. I really hope it hasn't been smashed, because it was a gift from my very good friend Luke, who I've gotten back in contact with recently. I don't think it has been. I just think we need a good sort out of the kitchen, and some other cups have gone missing. My housemate has actually said to me on a couple of occasions, has come up to me going, "Where's this cup?" or "Where's that cup?" or "Where's this beer glass?" or what have you. And I'm like, I have no idea. You know, we both come to the conclusion that maybe the kitchen needs sorting out, and we need to try and find these various cups and glasses and mugs and whatever that go missing. Anyway, you probably noticed that maybe that was a bit more of a subdued time for a cup. I didn't do the whole, oh, you know, there's a feeling in the air like I normally do, because this is going to be a bit more of a, you know, grassroots kind of a, you know, it's going to be a time for a cuppa, but I'm going to be speaking about some things that have been percolating in the old grey matter over the last week or so for me, and I'm going to be giving them in this video. So before we go any further, I have actually been quite ill the last week. I don't think I realised how ill I was. I wasn't ill as in like bedbound, and I was able to do things. I wasn't like ill in that regard. It was having quite an effect on me. I didn't quite realise what it was until I did some Googling yesterday, and I think I realised what it was. I think I had a migraine over the last 4 days. Now, I have to be careful, or rather not necessarily have to be careful, but whenever you say you have a migraine, anybody who's being diagnosed to suffer with migraines gets in their high horse and goes, "You don't suffer with migraines, you just suffer a really bad headache. If you suffered with migraines, you'd be bedbound, you wouldn't be able to be in the same room with light and sound." Migraines, much like anything else, work differently on different people. Different people have different levels of migraines. I have colleagues that suffer with migraines. They can still work while having with the migraines. They may have to take some time away from their desks, because we use computers all day. But at the end of the day, they suffer with migraines. They can still function. It's just they have been diagnosed and suffer with migraines. There are some people who suffer with migraines, need to be shut in a dark room for 3 days for the migraine to pass. Much with anything in life, it varies from person to person. And remember that before you go putting any comments or any critiques or any commentary on it, because looking at the symptoms, I had a migraine. I'm not going to beat around the bush on that. And one of the principal signs of an oncoming migraine is you get a lot more tired, a lot more lethargic before my migraine attack. And last week, that's exactly what happened. Around the Tuesday or the Wednesday, I started feeling quite shitty, to be honest, not really the best. And on the Thursday into Friday, I got a massive headache. In fact, took Friday off work. I'm taking today off work as well, just to recuperate and make sure I'm back to 100% for tomorrow. And we'll see how tomorrow goes, how I feel tomorrow. But I drank an abundance of water over the weekend. Looked up some various bits and parts when it comes to migraines and stuff like that, and had executed some of the methods that they advise you implement in order to help with migraines, hence the drinking of an excessive amount of water. So yeah, I've gone ahead and done that. That's one of the reasons why there hasn't been many videos recently, because little did I know that I was the onset of a migraine. The funny thing with it is, I didn't know this until I looked it up, but lights and sounds was actually making me more tired, which, if you don't know, migraines are often worsened by lights and sounds and things of that nature, and a migraine itself can make you very tired. And so before you get the actual migraine itself, just feeling a bit more tired from lights and sounds and stuff like that can actually be a sign of an onsetting migraine. Little did I know. I just thought I was napping more because the weather, the temperature has been up and down there are many references I can make there, which is something I know my body suffers with. I know when the temperature fluctuates from being really cold to really warm all of a sudden, although there's quite a fluctuation between the two, my body tends to go, oh, yep, time for some naps. Not sure why, just how my body tends to deal with it. Again, everybody's different. So I thought I'd update you guys on that. Don't worry, I am fine. I'm drinking plenty of fluids, and I'm probably going to be contacting, obviously, a doctor in the very near future to get myself checked out in terms of that, and maybe get myself put on a prescription list for medication for it. You can get what's called triptan, apparently, for migraines, but you have to be prescribed it before you can buy it over the counter. So, or you have to be diagnosed with migraines before you can buy it over the counter, or you can be prescribed it with sumatriptan. I've forgotten what it's actually specifically called. But that's what's been going on with me for the last week. And on that note, I thought I would delve into a little bit more about the recent decision when it came to consolidate my collection. And one of the main reasons why I'm doing that, and this is just a general thing for me right now, is my thoughts on collecting have changed significantly within the last 2 months, I would say. Surprise, surprise, with some recent changes with the way I collect things. I am part of a Facebook group, the Patreon Facebook group. It is a secret Facebook group. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to mention it, but there is a Patreon Facebook group. I mean, Heath, the host of Sarah at Midnight, does mention it on his channel, so I think I'm alright mentioning it. But there is a secret Facebook group for high-level Patreons, and I'm part of that group. And there's quite a few people in that group. And recently, there's just been this sort of communal feeling among a lot of us on that group, so to speak, that we've been collecting for the wrong reasons. And I'll be the first to admit I was collecting for completely the wrong reasons. I wasn't collecting for me. I was collecting for not the flack. Is it the... No, it's not the flack. What's the expression that the kids say nowadays? The swag? I don't know. I was basically collecting... FOMO was the main reason I was collecting. Fear of missing out. I didn't want to miss out on what everybody else was prattling on about. Whether it be the Dawn of the Dead box set came out. Whether it be... I'm trying to think of another set that, like, everybody and their mother reviewed at the times that they came out. And looking at the past, I've never been one to necessarily follow trends that closely, but it became a thing within the last 3 or 4 years. It definitely became a thing within the last 3 or 4 years for me to buy things that were popular with other people or popular in the general zeitgeist of collecting, and then me basically watching it, looking at it and going, I'm not really satisfied with this purchase, to be completely honest with you. And it's not a secret that there are times where it has caused me some financial issues. There are some people who are less kind with their comments in the comment section about the fact there are times where I will say, I've sold this or I've sold that. Yes, that's as a direct result of some of the decisions I've made when it comes to purchasing Blu-rays or DVDs or 4Ks, whatever it might be, 2 moments. And although those comments, as I said, are rather rude, it doesn't change the fact that they are right. Those observations are correct, and it has happened in the past. And over the last literally over the last month or two, I've had a sort of consolidation of my finances, so to speak, a mental sort of shift around with how I do things, and as a result of that, I am much happier, much more comfortable, and as a result of that, I'm not basically chasing after box set after box set. I don't watch Blu-ray and DVD updates or 4K updates anymore. I do from a very limited number of people. Heath from Serial at Midnight being one of them, because I am a Patreon of him. Kind of makes sense that, you know, the person that I pay nearly £10 a month to, I think it is, was it $8 a month, what it is, that I pay that particular pledge. It makes sense that I would obviously watch their content, especially the Patreon exclusive content. I'm not obviously sponsored by Heath. I just really like his content, and the way he thinks and the way he does things syncs up with the way I'm beginning to think and do things as I get older. So we'll get onto that maybe a little bit later in this video, maybe another video. I've done a few of these videos at this point in time. But I rarely watch Blu-ray updates, and one of the main reasons why I actually stopped doing that is there was one particular person that I was watching a video of, and they bought and was showing off the Bruce Lee at Golden Harvest sets, which I still have, by the way. Not one of the sets that I've sold. I still have that downstairs with my Short Scope Volume 1 or Volume 2 set. I keep saying that because they're on the cusp of being sold. They are literally on the cusp of being sold, and I keep telling myself I have them to remind myself I have them, and to go through them at some point. I'll probably do videos on that, but more on that in a different video, most likely. This YouTuber was showing off the Bruce Lee at Golden Harvest, and they were told by a friend that they hold very dear that they think they would like this set. Now, this YouTuber doesn't like martial arts. I wouldn't say doesn't like martial arts, but never really gotten into the whole martial arts, martial arts movie. Has never been one of those kind of fans. However, this friend said that, you know, this Bruce Lee at Golden Harvest set is like a gateway into martial arts movie. You can buy this, and if you like that, then you can start seeking out more, maybe more Bruce Lee, or seeking out other martial arts films, and then sort of get a taste for what's out there. Well, this particular YouTuber said that the amount of money that they spent on the Golden Harvest set, which it wasn't a cheap set, to be honest, it was £120 here in the UK, and whatever the equivalent is overseas. This individual is American. But the American? Or the Irish? I've forgotten. They're overseas, so probably a bit more expensive for them in their region equivalent. But they basically were, what's the word, very apprehensive, very careful, and they were sort of like, I'm not sure if I'm going to like this, you know, all this kind of stuff. There are ways you can watch the Bruce Lee films without having to, you know, plunge down $120 pounds equivalent of money. You can do it on, there's some on Amazon Prime, there's some on Sky. If you've got a Sky subscription, all of the Golden Harvest films are on there, not 4K, but they are on HD, so you can watch them on there. And there are some other sites that I'm sure you could, wink wink, you could you could venture to find out some stuff you really wanted to. But this YouTuber was really apprehensive and reticent, and I was sort of sat there thinking, then why had they gone ahead and paid £120, whatever their regional equivalent is, on this set? Like, you could have just gone out and bought, there's a Bruce Lee DVD set that's been out for since 2003, I think it's been out. That's now £30. You can easily find it for £30, £20, quite easily. There are many different Blu-ray box sets of Bruce Lee that you can find for a pretty cheap price, or you can buy the individual films of his for a really cheap price. And that kind of hit me. It hit me because I was actually quite critical of this person in the comments, and they were quite defensive against me, obviously of themselves. And it hit me. The reason they did it is to show it off. Basically, it's the FOMO. It's that fear of being part of something, and wanting to be part of something. Fear of missing out or being excluded, or not being a part of the crowd. And that's what it was, to be honest. I would not be surprised if that YouTuber ends up selling that set down the road, as I'm considering doing so. Did I buy that set? as a impulse purchase? Quite possibly. You know, there are many things, many mysteries in this world, and we may never know all of them. But it's quite probable that it was an impulse purchase. Although this person had a friend in their ear, so to speak, saying, "Oh, I think you like the Bruce Lee films," it was still, after a little bit of thinking about it, it was still rather obvious that they did it just to show off the set, because they probably felt, you know, because everybody on YouTube was showing off those sets, and they are now very much out of print, and that's one of the reasons why I'm considering not giving away or selling or passing with my copy, simply because if I did, I know it'd be really hard to get hold of again at the price that I managed to get hold of it as. So I'm probably going to keep hold of that for now, and we'll go from there. Maybe I'll enjoy it for a bit, and then maybe I'll sell it for when it gains a bit of value. You know, I don't know. I know that probably is absolutely blasphemous for a number of people in the community, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, these things have a commodity, and sometimes that commodity grows with time. So we'll see where things go. But I do want to enjoy the sets for what they are, rather than for the monetary value they may end up gaining in the future. I have sold many a set that is now really expensive, like the Halloween Scream Factory set. I sold my copy many years ago because I needed money at the time. It now goes for £600-700 easy, and that's on the low end. They could easily go for $1,000, pounds, whatever equivalent you want to think of. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. You can't cry over spilt milk. And I think that's where I'm coming at now, is I've sort of thought about where I want to spend my money more, where I want to focus my money more, and my thoughts of collecting have changed. The main thing I now try and remember is you can't take things to the grave. You can't take your possessions to the grave. At the end of the day, they're just possessions, and the more possessions you have, the harder it becomes to contain said possessions. If you end up moving, it's a pain in the butt to move everything, stuff like that. So I've just sort of thought about, you know, the consolidation of collection and focusing more on things. And plus, I'll be the first to admit that I kind of have a shotgun mentality when it comes to a lot of my interests, and you know, a lot of those interests sort of get left untouched for a while. Like I haven't touched the MetaQuest 3 for a little while. Need to get back into that. I have board games that I need to get into, and it's all because I keep chasing the next thing rather than enjoying what I already have, and that's where I'm at the moment. I am going to be pre-ordering Doctor Who things here and there, and buying and carry on, you know, collecting the collection, collecting the collection, and doing things like that, and buying the odd thing here and there that takes my fancy. I know SureScope are coming out with another volume 3, but it's not going to be focused on martial arts. It's going to be focused on some of their other movies. I do want to get the Warner Brothers 100-year 4K set, because I think that is a really good condensed cross section of a lot of cinema, and I thought that would go out of print really quickly. It hasn't. It's actually not only stayed in print, but it's actually come down in price, and it's frequently on sale for £40 to £60 less than it goes for retail. So that's pretty cool. I'll probably buy that at some point, and I think after that I'll probably be quite happy with where my collection will be at that moment in time, and we'll see. You know, I'll revisit this down the road and see how I feel down the road with some different bits and bobs. Plus, I'll be honest, I do want to start saving up a bit of a kitty, so to speak, a rainy day fund, as some people call it, just in case. You never know, you know, what happened over Christmas or just before Christmas. Our washing machine broke down. We have managed to source another washing machine, but we didn't pay for it out of pocket, without going into too much detail about that. And I would like to, you know, on occasions, if something were to break or an emergency were to happen, to be able to fund that emergency without worrying too much about it, and there have been times where legitimately I've been worried whether I'm going to have to be able to afford a bus ticket and stuff like that, and I could be stranded somewhere, you know, and you don't want those kind of worries. So sort of consolidating things, and there's a lot of things on wish lists and buy lists I've built over the years, collected over the years, in which I haven't bought a lot of the things on there because I've just been chasing other things rather than focusing on those things and playing those things. That's the main thing I want to get to, is playing those things. I think you understand a bit more where I'm coming from. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. I like to keep things engaging and all that kind of stuff. But until next time, guys, please take care, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day. Ta-ra.